Mia throws a pillow, and it is the hardest pillow sound. I'm like, what? You have like lead bricks.
Hey, in Australia and New Zealand, that's the sort of shit we sleep on. You know, we're harder down there. We don't have these feathers. We sleep on rocks.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Katie Afraidy on the Fangoria Podcast Network. Woo, 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 woo. I'm your host, Katie Hettenbach, and I am so excited about this person. I say that a lot, but like genuinely, like I'm really excited about this person. He wears many hats, many hats. He is a journalist from New Zealand, now living with us in the United States. He is a podcaster, WEBWORM, Flightless Bird. He's a documentarian, a filmmaker. You might have seen his work with Tickled, crazy documentary, Dark Tourist. Love that series. And he has a new thing out, new movie, new documentary called Mr. Organ. It's David Farrier.
That was an amazing introduction.
Thank you.
I practiced it. Was so intense. It was brilliant. Like you nailed that on the first time. There wasn't like multiple takes. That was one take. Thank you. That's super kind. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you. You seriously are the reason why I enjoy documentaries.
Oh, amazing. Really?
Yeah, because I hated them before, and then you like...
Then you saw a documentary about tickling.
I don't want to say I had fun watching it. Does that make... I feel like that's like a fucked up thing.
Yeah, it is. No, you can have fun, I think, watching Tickled. There were elements of fun in the mix. I mean, I think that's what makes a good documentary when it's a little bit fun, because you want to be entertained and amused, because I think that helps the information go in better. Oh, yeah. You know? I think that's okay.
Yeah, and you ride the line between being funny and then having, like, fucked up, and and then you can just switch on a dime. And I love that. Like, I show everyone Tickled.
How did you come across it? Because I'm always curious about how these weird little films, because we did like a little cinema run first, and then it was on HBO, I think. How did you come across this thing?
So you submitted to the Wisconsin Film Festival, and that's where I'm from. Yeah. And my brother was like, we got to go see this. It sounds insane. And I was like, a documentary? Ugh. Fine, let's go. And I just remember being in the theater like, what? Like, oh, this is funny. And then they're like, oh, this isn't funny anymore.
Oh, that's great.
And then I am a very ticklish person, and I show it to all of my friends who threaten me with tickling. And they don't do it anymore. So I guess thank you.
This is why tickling is bad.
Yeah, this is Exhibit A. But it's so funny. It's so funny.
Thank you. Well, no, that's the dream. The idea, like the dream with, I think, any film, but that documentary, I feel like, is I wanted people to go in blind with no idea what it was going to be. And that's a good thing in a way, but also it's bad because I think a lot of people saw the name Tickled and they just sort of went, oh, here's a documentary about like a fetish or something. And I think that put a lot of people off. Yeah. So it's like it's a catch-22 because you don't want to tell people too much, but then you don't tell them enough and they assume it's just like a weird fetish thing, which is fine, but it's not for everyone.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of people slept on Tickled as well just because they didn't know what the hell it was. So thanks for going is what I'm saying.
Of course. And like it was on, I think it's still on Hulu, or is it on Netflix now?
It floats around. I can't keep up.
Whatever platform it's on, I'm like, oh, here it is. I'm like, now people go to this one. And then... it's wild. So John had a question that he wanted me to ask. D'Amato, do you think he's actually dead?
That's a great question because he did die a few years after the film came out, and of course with someone like that who just he makes a lot of things up. And of anyone I think to fake their own death, he does seem like a really good person to do that. Yeah. But no, he definitely had it confirmed on multiple fronts that he definitely passed away. Just because when you make a documentary, you end up in touch with so many people. Ended up knowing some people that were at the funeral. Okay. And look, if he faked his death, then there was like a beautifully perfect wax sculpture in the coffin. And it would be very elaborate. Okay. Seen the coroner's report. So yeah, he did pass away. He was an incredibly unhealthy person. Okay. And a heart attack. Okay. And that was it. Which for me at the time was such an odd thing because I don't want anyone to pass away. Yeah. But there was this added thing where at the time he was suing Dylan and myself in 2 separate American courts.
Okay.
And like the blessing of him passing away is that those lawsuits just stopped.
Okay.
Which for me was a huge
which is was good because you don't
Yeah.
have to pay that
exactly.
deal with that hassle.
Yeah.
Good. So how many times have you been like taken to court in your time of
Fortunately, I've only been taken to court twice,
Okay.
which was the D'Amato thing.
Okay.
So he sued me in 2 different states.
Okay.
I get a lot of cease and desists.
Okay.
And that's where you get this, they're not fun to get. It's like a really scarily, harshly written letter from a lawyer
Okay.
saying you have got something wrong. Usually it's over defamation,
Okay.
saying you've got this thing wrong. And if you do not change something immediately, or even if you do, we will sue you.
Okay.
And that's scary because it's this feeling of like, oh God, like what is coming? But also it is different to being sued. So
Okay.
only sued twice.
Okay.
I've gotten a lot of cease and desists through a lot of my
Yeah.
writing on WEBWORM and other things.
Yeah. Do you like, I think because you have to ride that line of do I change it that's not the truth, or do I go through with it? So like, how do you deal with that?
100%. I'm super lucky in that when I was working on Tickled, I met these really incredible lawyers in New Zealand, and they ride that great line where they want to keep you safe, but they also aren't too cautious because they know that you need to tell a story. And so I just listen to them, and they're kind of my line, and I take their advice. There are times you weigh things up, right? You're weighing up the public interest in the story. Like, is it worth telling on a grand scale, or is it just a quirky story you want to tell because it's quirky, mixed with how much money does the person have and how litigious are they?
Sure.
So you balance all those things up and you make a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I used to work in a newsroom in New Zealand, and now most of my journalism is just on a newsletter I write, which is just me. And so when you're in a newsroom doing this stuff, you have a newsroom lawyer who will help you, and your newsroom backs you. It is scarier when I'm writing on WEBWORM because I know if I fuck up, then it's me that's responsible. It's me that's responsible for any lawsuits. And so that definitely makes me extra cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Jeez. I mean, good for I commend you, because I would see one threat and I'd be like, you know what? Hey, is it anything worth it? I don't know. I'm scared.
Yeah, it's not. It's something I think that you just kind of get used to over time, and I've been incredibly lucky so far that everything has mostly been okay.
Okay, that's good.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
The second I say this,
and this when something
wrong.
happens,
This is the
As soon as
last
this
time
is
you'll see me.
released, this is your last public appearance. This is it. The last, You'll be taken out like with the
Exactly.
Yeah. So also want to talk about Dark Tourist. What a wild. First of all, I know you said it during the screening that there's only one season and there's probably not going to be a second, which is devastating.
Thank you. That's a nice response.
Love that series. It's because I love that stuff. I find that stuff so fascinating. Also I think I didn't realize how much I actually quote it specifically.
Oh, right.
Because
what sort of things what stood out at you?
Because I am from Wisconsin, so the Milwaukee Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, of course.
Of course, the serial killer. Gotta our pride and joy. That's what we're known for: beard, cheese, and serial.
You really
killers.
are though. Like that's the thing around town. Even on T-shirts, those are the things you see.
Yeah.
It's like which of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. It's scary, but it's also really fascinating. And then to go from the cliche ghost tour of you being like, this is bullshit, to actually talking to his lawyer and being like, oh, here, he drew out the shrine.
That was wild. I mean, I'm particularly proud of that particular storyline of the Dahmer thing, because Wendy Petrikis was one of his defense lawyers. So Dahmer had a couple of defense lawyers. She had just come out of law school at the time.
Wow.
So this was one of her first cases. Like, imagine being a fresh lawyer and you get this case. Like, she knows it. She'll never get a case that is that bonkers again on a national scale or international scale.
Yeah.
So, but no one had really talked to her before. And so I wish I could take credit for finding her. My producer found her. And no one had really interviewed her since the trial. And so she was sitting on all the tapes of Dahmer's confessions, not confessions, I guess his interviews with his lawyer, those that they hadn't been heard before. And she also had stuff like drawings he handed her and all that kind of thing. And so that, so I believe, and I might be incorrect on this, but I believe there's a Netflix show now, like the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes. It's one of those ones.
I think so, yeah.
And so those are the tapes that we had in Dark Tourist. Except we're just making the show Dark Tourist. I'm not in my sort of mindset that, what I maybe should have done is gone, hey, Wendy, these tapes are incredible. Let's make a doc about this. In saying that, that's not really what I want to do.
Yeah.
But my point is, those tapes had never been heard at the time. And so that whole storyline in Dark Tourist is kind of wild because she's pulling out artwork that Dahmer did that people had never seen before. And that was like one of those sort of pinch yourself surreal moments. And it was just a great researcher and producer and timing.
Wild.
Yeah,
freaking wild. And the 6 hour, especially the stuff in America, that's the stuff that like the dark stuff that
totally. We did 2 episodes in America just because America does have so much
insane
messed up stuff. Yeah.
I would the stuff in DC with JFK's the 6 hour long tour was, I don't want to find it hysterical, but the fact that it's 6 that's excessive.
I mean,
hilarious.
Robin was just very passionate about the conspiracy theories around the assassination, and his tours were intensive, and it wasn't like an hour thing that you'd get in LA. This was a 6 hour experience, and so I love that show. I think a lot of it was like just the characters, the people we found were just so. We spent an episode with. Pablo Escobar's hitman, who's since passed away, but he was a lot. Yeah. And it was, the entire show was such a surreal thing to make. Yeah. And one day we might make a second season for somewhere, but also I think it's probably a oneer. Yeah.
And if it is, it works as a oneer, but also you could go forever on it.
There's a lot. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's a lot of like messed up stuff on the planet, and the way we relate to it is also really messed up.
No way.
And so there's probably a few seasons of Dark Tourist out there.
One that I think that even if you don't, obviously you won't do it on the show, but I think you should go personally is in Vegas, Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about this at all. What is this?
Okay. Your face. He has a show on the Travel Channel called Ghost Adventures.
Okay.
And it's not particularly good, but I love it because it's just
a
fun.
Vibe.
Yeah. The whole thing is like, was this the ghost of little Sally who fell down the stairs because she was trying to get her ball, trying to warn us that her father took her brother and didn't tell his mom? And you're like, wait, like a light flickered. What do you that's the whole show. But it's
but they build a show around nothing.
But it's great. But the Haunted Museum is just like all these weird artifacts. Like they have Dr. Kevorkian's suicide van. Do you know?
Oh wow! Yeah, right.
Yeah, they have an entire serial killer section. They have Charles Manson's ashes. They have a bunch of Jeffrey Dahmer stuff. They have Ed Gein's cauldron, and like just weird shit.
I mean, that's the other thing. We got a bit into this in the show, but collectors here of the murderabilia, I think they call it.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole scene, people that want the thing. Yeah. And then there's this whole black market of trading in this stuff. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty fascinating space as well. Yeah. The Museum of Death in LA. Yeah. That I've never seen like a doll. They had a doll of Jeffrey Dahmer. Right. And it would be like, open my stomach to see what I ate for lunch. And then you'd open it, and there'd be a little tiny man inside. God, and right. I was like... It's a certain sense of humor. I was like, who pitched this? Who pitched this? This seems like a bad idea. Because the Museum of Death, that's like partly like ridiculous, but they do have some incredibly legit bits of history there as well, right? But they're also linked to Scientology. Get out. I just found that out. Yeah. How? Do they own do they have some stake in it? Mm-hmm. Did not know that. Yeah. That's another dark thing about the town we're in right now
Yeah.
is the fact, I live in this little 1-bedroom apartment in Los Feliz, and I just marvel that I can go and get my coffee in the morning, and I can walk down L. Ron Hubbard Way, surrounded by Scientologists getting on with their day, and that's just a normal thing. Like, I feel like I'm at the zoo. It's like entertainment. Like growing up in New Zealand, I read about Scientology. I watched the documentaries about Scientology. To be able to just like go to Starbucks and then just wander through there, I can't believe it. Like, in a way, I can't believe my luck that this exists in this town. It's so insane.
And I don't want, obviously, I want you to be
don't
safe.
Sue us,
I want you to be.
Scientology.
I want you to be safe, but to have you do a documentary about Scientology. But I don't want you to get
passed through
hurt.
my brain. I feel like there's been so much. Louis Theroux, who is I'm often likened to, he's got this really incredible Scientology documentary. And then, of course, is Going Clear. But if I could find a fresh way in or something where I thought I had something new to say, it would be an amazing sandbox to play in. My dream doc, if God just was real and sort of gifted me a documentary, it would be embedding with Tom Cruise in a way where Tom Cruise gave me full access to his life and his ways and his diet and his whole religion, everything. That would be an amazing way into Scientology. To be with someone who is a high up celeb member, that would be it would be heaven for me.
Okay. You know what? We're going to make it happen.
If you can make that happen, that would be, if you have Tom in here, and just gently mention it to him.
You know what? It's actually,
hey.
It's crazy. He's actually in after you. That's crazy.
Okay, if we cross in the hallway, this is where it's going to happen.
Yeah. You're like, hi, I'm David.
Imagine.
I have a pitch for you. Hear me out.
And I'm a Tom Cruise. This big conflict. I think Tom Cruise is an amazing actor and does amazing shit. But he's also, we don't want to get you defamed in the show. But he's also a member of a really intense cult. Yeah. He's a high up member, and he used to speak about it a lot in interviews. He'd be very open about it. That got him into a lot of trouble, and he's really stepped back. And people don't just talk to him about it anymore because they'd probably get kicked out of the junkets, right? Yeah. Anyway, Scientology. That's my dream doc. Scientology and Tom together. That's me.
I want that. I had to throw that in there. Needs to happen. Okay. We should talk about Talk to Me.
I love Talk to Me so much.
I
lost my shit over this film. I love it.
How many times have you seen it?
I've seen it 3 times, which isn't a lot. I've seen, it's enough, I suppose. Yeah. But so my documentary, Mr. Organ, it premiered a year ago now. It's in cinemas at the moment here. But it's been on like the horror film circuit. So it's
which
weird.
Is wild.
It's really unusual. So I guess like it premiered at Fantastic Fest, which is mostly horror films, sort of extreme genre films. They don't do a lot of documentary, but that's where Mr. Organ got into. And so since then, we've been doing horror festivals around America. So I was at the Overlook Film Festival, which was great. I haven't spent a lot of time in New Orleans, and that city is incredible for so many reasons. My God, anyway, so did my Mr. Organ stuff, did screen that. And then I slipped into a midnight mystery screening. Sat down. I had no idea that, I like A24 stuff as much as the next person. Like generally, it's going to be a decent quality, like A24. For sure. They know what they're doing. So I had no idea, though, that this was on their slate. So when like the logo came up and the name and everything, I had no idea what I was in for. Instantly, I was on board because it started on this like insane like. It just felt very fresh. It was like the music was amazing. It was at this like pumping house party with these Australian kids. And it was all Australian accents because it's an Australian film. Yeah,
which I didn't realize till about halfway through.
Right.
And then I was like,
where are we?
Oh, I got it. It was also the doorknobs.
Oh, different knobs.
Yeah, the doorknobs are higher. It's really interesting. I noticed that in another.
Really funny.
There's another horror movie that takes place.
Right.
That
Babadook
was filmed.
or something.
That, but also Better Watch Out.
Oh, right.
Which
it's
just
so observant.
It's so interesting.
So many. I mean, the podcast I do is about similarities and
Yeah.
differences between New Zealand and America. So
Yeah.
I'm going to add doorknobs to the
It's
list of
super
things
weird.
to
I don't know.
look
That's
into.
very specific.
Yeah, it's
but
so specific.
yeah, it's really.
You know what I like about Talk to Me? The doorknobs. But like, what jumped out at me is like, holy shit, this is an Australian film.
Yeah.
This is so fascinating. I hadn't seen an Australian A24 film before.
Yeah.
And yet, my point is, it was a secret screening, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the hell I was going to get. And I just felt like I was on this wonderful roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, it felt fresh and vibrant, and it was like terrifying.
Yeah.
And I thought, it was pretty bleak.
Yeah.
It was pretty dark.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for that in my horror. I want to be taken somewhere that's a bit nasty.
Yeah.
And it gave me that.
I
I sound like a psychopath, eh? But no, I mean, that's why we watch this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the referring to it as being taken somewhere nasty. I like that. I'm going to use that now. I like that.
I watched When Evil Lurks
Yeah.
the other night, and that was the same. Like, it just takes you somewhere nasty.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I'm looking for. And, I like my fun horrors like
Yeah.
Saw 10 and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
so fun.
yeah,
I
but
just
like
yeah.
this, it just gets a bit like
Yeah.
dark, and I like that.
And it's like the music. I feel because I watched it 3 times as well. I watched it last night, but that was the first time I watched it on TV and not on like
at home
theater or like
with
in
friends or alone.
just alone. But
Yeah.
it doesn't hit as hard when it's on a TV.
Yeah, interesting.
And I was like, oh, this is because I'm like all my friends, you
Yeah.
got to go see this.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, if you see it, you need to
go into a theater if you can,
go
or
into
turn
a theater,
it up so loud.
turn up so loud, make sure it's
Yeah.
dark. It's just it takes you out a little bit, and then because you have your
Yep.
phone, you have like these distractions, and it's
Totally.
like just
Well,
focus
there
on
was there was so much like the sound design I thought was really incredible because
Yeah.
so much of the scenes where I don't know how spoilery one
Oh,
to get, but
as much as we want.
I mean the movie's been out for if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
come
it's
on.
this is the if you subscribe to this podcast,
You know.
spoilers.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't.
We're
I don't
horror
care.
people here.
Yeah,
We're horror people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the sound design when people are possessed and seeing that
Yeah.
world. Like if there's someone who's drowned, like the sound design is all underwater and blurry, and like all that sound, you need that loud, else like you miss that atmosphere. And everything about it was just so perfectly pitched.
Yes,
It
the one thing that stood out to me the more I watch it, and it's so funny. I forget which one I think it's in when we first meet Jade and Mia when they're in the bed, and Jade's texting Daniel.
Oh.
She throws a pillow. Mia throws a pillow, and it is the hardest pillow sound. I'm like, what? You have like lead bricks.
Hey, in Australia and New Zealand, that's the sort of shit we sleep
Is
on.
that-
We're harder down there. We don't
Got
have
it.
these
So-
feathers. We sleep on rocks.
High
I
doorknobs
know what
and
you mean.
rocks.
No, it was like a fright. It was like a
Yeah.
jump scare with a pillow.
You're like, damn, those are
Yeah.
some hard. You're gonna get a bruise from that. Oh my god. So that's what like stood. I was like, oh my god. But
yeah.
the initial party scene, I was also like, whoa, you're like disoriented because you don't know what's going on.
No.
You're
Great
following
cold open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You follow this one character and you find out they're twins and you're like, what's up? And then one of them stabs the other one and then just in party
Such a bold open.
Yeah.
Like just the direct stab in the head.
And you're like, what
And
the
then
fuck?
boom, I think it's like the titles, it's just like boom, we're
Yeah.
in now. And that felt just so, I mean, also the other thing about this was like, who are the directors? Danny and Michael Phillip. Is it Danny and Michael Philippou? I'm going to Philippou.
Yeah, Filippo, yes.
I'm going to angle that because I know they're huge YouTubers.
Yeah.
And they're incredible. And, it's their first feature.
Which is crazy.
And it's not like I'm not saying they've come in with like nothing. They came in armed with all this amazing filmmaking experience because they've done everything on I think they worked on The Babadook. They've worked on other films. But then also their YouTube work is, you watch those and they're doing so much cool shit there. But they came into this just these fully formed, incredible directors and just made this thing out of nowhere.
So cool.
Your debut film is something like that. Like that's like the work of someone that has made like 20 films in my mind. It was fucking incredible.
It was so good, and a lot of the actors, like that was their first time, like the little boy.
That boy was amazing.
What's his name?
The whole cast was amazing. And I talked to them briefly because I interviewed them for my newsletter, WEBWORM, and they were they're really compelling. Like both of them are, and they said they really had to stick to their guns because at some point the investors wanted them to cast a lead who would be known. And but no, they're like, we're casting this like minority actor from Australia, and this is how it's going to be. Deal with it. And I can't imagine her, like Sophia Wilde, I think is her name. I can't imagine her not being the lead. So perfect.
It was perfect.
And the fact they had the confidence just to stick to their guns as they're getting pressure to change who is starring in the film. I mean, I just have such admiration for them in doing that. They just made this perfect thing.
And one of the actors is trans and non-binary, and at that, like the film was banned in like one part of the world because of that. And I was like, first of all, they're barely in the movie.
Yeah, and also the cool thing about it wasn't a plot point.
It wasn't
talked about.
No, I also I had to go back and be like, who are they talking about? I'm like, who cares? I'm like, I don't. And I was like, oh, I'm not. Who cares? Who cares?
Which is the way it should be on the planet in general. Like, people exist. It shouldn't have to be this big discussion point. It's like, here's a great actor. Here's a great character. Here they are.
Period. Like,
and they were. I mean, I love that character because they had this certain like.
They were so snarky and such a smart ass
and smart assy and cool, but also like quite weird and just this. I could just imagine like them at my old school. It's like a certain character who's just like a bit dangerous, you know. And I love that part.
It's like when they initially walk into the party, because Mia and
I'm terrible with names. Names
I
is
am
one
too.
thing I can't
That's
do.
why I always have my phone. I'm like, I gotta.
I don't know who these people
are.
Right.
Riley, Jade, and Mia. They go to a party, and they're like, "We're gonna go see what this hand's all about." Yeah. And they walk in and they're like, "Oh, hey, Jade." And they're like, "Oh, now we're babysitting." And then Mia walks in. And they go, fuck me. And I'm just like, oh, been there.
High school.
Been there, yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are.
There's nasty shit going on. Yeah, like all these little shits. All these like rival groups going on. Yeah, I mean, it was, I loved, it was all just very believable. Yeah. And I guess that's the other aspect to it as well. I mean, essentially, it's like a, it's a Ouija board film. It's just, it's like we've seen this thing being done before, but it's just all such fresh window dressing on it. And it just felt like I was watching something entirely new. Yeah. And I loved it for that as well. I will say I wanted more, like the beginning set up that it was going to be one film. Like you're like, okay, here's the action you're about to get. Yep. The kill count is 2. It's the first and then the very end. Yeah, and I almost wish they had one in the middle, at least 3. Yeah, well, just a few more.
Just a few more
like,
to knock people
deaths.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it in that way at all.
Yeah, or just send more people to the hospital. I don't know.
Just something.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
totally.
Because the
There's more death.
More death. Yeah. I mean, but it works. But I also I just feel like it needed something else. Because
a kangaroo death.
That's true.
There's a gnarly animal death. And there's that cut where she sees the kangaroo limping through the hospital trailing blood. There's shots like that I think are utilized so well.
So sad.
So a dead animal.
Yeah, dead animal. True. So 3. That is 3. You know what? I'll say 3. Because animals' lives matter.
They do matter.
Sorry. Yes.
They do matter.
Yes. We are sponsored by PETA.
It's funny what you say about watching it at home because I've done that once and I had the same experience and I wasn't sure if it's because I'm so used to it by now. But, I mean, I was so excited about this when I went back to visit New Zealand. I rented a theatre and just filled it up with my friends because I want to experience this again. Yeah. And this was before it was sort of out and everywhere, and it felt like... Because there's also that thing as well, when you see something at a festival and it's not being shoved in your face by everyone, you do sort of feel like a sense of ownership of it. It's like, I've found this thing, not many people know about it, and I get really excited by that. I'm a fan of this shit. Yeah. And so I just wanted to show people in New Zealand as soon as I could. Oh, yeah. And so that's the first thing I did. So you saw it at the festival, did it in New Zealand, and then at home on the TV.
Wow.
Yeah. Big fan.
It's
and also, I think just trying to think what else I liked about it. Tonally, I love the whole thing. I mean, there's that specific scene of head trauma.
Yeah.
Where Riley is just absolutely demolishing himself in a room in front of everyone, and everyone is just so... I mean, I had a similar emotion sort of almost to, Hereditary with the old, like, head falling off, where it's just like this awful thing where, like, a brother or a sister is, like, going through something awful, and, like, you've got that feeling of, like, this is getting out of hand, and it's horrible, and I love being taken on that emotional journey.
It's wild, especially the lead up to that. I think the montage right before that,
so fun.
I think it's like, it is. I want to watch it over and over again. It is so brilliant. It's the editing, the like characters interacting with each other, just the possessions, I guess, of the different ghosts and spirits and shit.
Just took you into that world. Is that the one
so
that you talking about? It's like got that like beautiful, like it's got the amazing song pumping.
Yes.
And it's fun, and that song's on TikTok everywhere
now.
Yeah.
And it's like, apparently that scene was shot in like 1 hour.
Oh my god.
Which I love that, because they just were doing random stuff. They just were doing random stuff, and I'm like, this is all. The only thing that takes time is putting on the makeup and the eye stuff, and like that's about it. But
that was so fun. And then then it just goes so dark so quick.
Fast.
And I thought that, and again, later on when he's in hospital and he re-traumatizes his already quite intense head trauma.
Oh my god.
I found that so hard. I hate head shit. I'm just like,
it's also like because they're like trying to get the hand out of his, because there's so many rules to the hand.
Right. And they set up the world really well. I like that they set up the rules.
But there's some like...
See, I'm also not a deep thinker about like, film logic. What's your fucking problem with this?
No, I trust me, the rating will say
bad said about it.
I love it so much. There's just like, okay, so the initial hand, when Mia's on it, she's only supposed to do 90 seconds, but she goes over
a little bit.
Okay. So, and then we see that, like, okay, the water ghost is now, fucking with her, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Riley goes over. He's like, what, two minutes? A minute over?
Yeah.
We don't see that as much of, like, obviously they have his soul now.
Yeah, I mean, they've got his whole soul.
But I don't know. I just think there needs to be more. I don't know. The logic is like...
The timing didn't sit right with you.
And then they don't keep up with it, kind of. But it's interesting. I will say, though, something that I did not notice. When I do podcasts, I always like to listen to other people's podcasts and hear other perspectives of like the movie. And something that someone else pointed out was that actually, you know what? I'm gonna ask you this, and then I'll tell you. Do you think that was actually Mia's mom the whole movie? That was with her, that she kept seeing?
Oh, No, I think that was a manipulation by like the spirit world. I think it was like using her likeness and had nothing to do with her at all. It wasn't her mum trying to like fuck with things.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So you talked about the sound and how there's a bunch of water effects. The first, or the ghost that she allows in had the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever you see Mia's mom, there's always a slight water sound.
Oh, really? So same horrible entity going on. And right.
So there's a lot of like water motifs throughout the movie,
right,
and stuff. So you're like,
yeah, totally.
So I was, it's not actually your mom. The only time that it is her mom, I believe, is in Reflections.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You never actually like to see her face to face.
See, I have not read into this nearly as much as you.
That's okay.
I'm like much more like emotions and feeling.
Yeah.
Like logic in movies, to me, it doesn't bug me that much.
Yeah.
Like if it emotionally it grabs me, it doesn't take me out.
Yeah.
I've got a friend in New Zealand who, if anything in the logic of the world is like off, it's like done.
Yep.
Like just bails from the whole thing mentally and emotionally, and doesn't like the film.
For sure.
I just think I watched something like in quite a simple way.
Yeah.
I just like, I'm never overthinking. I'm really predicting the end before it happens. And by the way, this did have a great ending. I think they sunk the landing.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
It was simple, effective, but also it's just what it needed. But it does not need a sequel. I don't think it needs
I agree. I think the sequel thing is look, fuck, I can't talk. If I'd made this thing and it did so well, and it's like make another one, and it's A24, I probably would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I guess there's just that element where, God, this thing's so perfect. It just and I also feel like I personally want to see their talent go into like other things, because I know they've got so much stuff they want to make.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, but then in saying that, it could be fucking incredible. And maybe it's going to be like Alien and Aliens, and it just takes us somewhere entirely different, and they surprise us.
Yeah.
And it's this really cool thing. I mean, it's a possibility. You know?
I really want... So, one of my favorite parts of the movie that's like literally only like 2 seconds, and it's utterly terrifying. Like, I would say... I mean, there's 2 moments that I would give like the... Midsummer. There's 2 moments that you're like, okay, these are the like 2. And then for me, it's the head smashing scene in the bodies, and then the weird mom and daughter orgy thing with
the mom daughter orgy,
or no, like the sex, and then they had the totally or like the hold my hand.
For me, the other standout moment. And I think this is because I was raised in a super conservative Christian home. And so, like, hell for me for a while was, like, a real issue. Because it's a real thing. It was, like, for almost 20 years of my life. Like, it was, like, that was a real worry.
Yeah.
And so that scene where Riley, like, there was that flash to him kind of in. That's what I just found that so... really shocked me. Yeah. I found it awful. It's like, and whether the kid was there or not, or that was sort of what they were seeing, it was my belief in the film, like, he was being absolutely, like, tormented. Yeah. And just what a horrible idea to, like, know that your kid brother's, like, going through that. Yeah. You know, there's nothing you can do. They're all just hands in his stomach. And horrific.
But I wanted more of that. I wanted Mia to like go there.
No, but see, I think that would have become silly. It's like you got a flash. You know, Event Horizon is another like favorite of mine. Okay. And like that was great. They go to hell and it's like it's all you see everything but that's so like kind of schlocky. Yeah. This felt so super serious in its treatment of it. I just worry if like she went to the other side, you'd just sort of be like, oh, this is a set and this is some gore and those are some like, and just, I don't know, I fear it would like take the shock away maybe. And I'd be worried going there. Okay. But look, we're allowed different opinions. Yeah. So it's okay. I like that. But I just love the flash of horror. It's and
terrifying.
Then just God.
And then just her being like, oh my God.
Yeah, and then you just like want him rescued.
Oh yeah. And then something that was equally as terrifying in this movie was the toe scene.
Oh, a bit of toe sucking?
A little bit of toe sucking.
You felt tickled adjacent, eh? Some like... What I did find when making Tickled is that the tickling people and the feet people are the same people.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, which is fine. I'm not kink shaming. It's just, it's an overlap. Okay. And if I check the direct messages on like the now sort of defunct Tickled Facebook page we made, it's all just feet people who think Tickled is like a fetish thing and they just want foot photos. So anyway, my point is, any like foot sucking or that thing, it just sort of takes me into that world of like that. Okay. But it was so. I mean, isn't it your nightmare? Like you sort of wake up and someone's like sucking on your foot. It's just like I
don't know what you would do if it was but
also and it's like your ex, right? Who's like
it's your ex, but you only held hands with them. You didn't. I was like, okay, did you even date? Okay, you were like what? I think they were
and
like
just the 8? Shock, like just the feeling of like her shock of like, oh no, I've just done this.
Yeah,
and, like,
but she thinks someone else. And then she's like, wait, what just happened? I think it's terrifying for the both of them.
Yeah, I think to wake up and the idea of like waking up and just like it's almost like when you've had like a big like drunken night or something, you wake up and you get that like something bad, you know, that like guilt, that sort of feeling of like, oh no, what happened? Yeah, it's the worst version of that where you wake up and this horrible thing has happened and you're like, oh Christ, like, how do I? What is this? How do I explain?
There's a foot in my mouth.
And you felt that, and that was just horrific.
Like, how do you explain that? And like, they're not going to believe you. And he's like, nah. I
don't think she tried hard enough.
I don't think she did either. I'm like, I would have calmed down and been like, hey, okay.
I was having the maddest fucking dream. Like, this was,
she was there. You were sleeping. She was sucking on your toes.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm mortified by this situation. But this is what I thought was happening.
Apparently, I am an extension of her. and I now have a toe fetish, and that's
yeah,
okay. That's
they
fine,
didn't
but,
talk
you
it
know.
through enough.
Yeah,
Communication's important. They didn't do that.
yeah,
And it led to problems.
yeah. And it sounds like they were the ones that were kink shaming.
I agree.
Yeah,
I completely fucking
yeah.
agree. Yeah, I
Good
really
God.
do.
And
I also thought the other thing I liked about it is I just thought the prop hand was just like
So
a very, I mean, whoever sort of designed that and worked with it
Yeah.
and the writing on it, it just felt really,
it's
I
just
don't
like
know,
a-
just like perfect like structure, and it looks scary and sort of foreboding. It felt like this ancient, scary thing, you know? So I feel like so often in horror, people start like getting out the thing and it's like a
Yeah.
bit silly,
Yeah.
you know?
and it's so simple.
Yeah, it's just such a simple, easy thing, and I really believed it and was on board with it. Of course, A24 sells it as a fucking $300 centerpiece or something.
But I mean, I'm still gonna
Kinda
get it.
taking
I'm
the
still
piss.
gonna buy it, though. I mean,
Must be doing so well.
oh God, good for them. Honestly,
Yeah.
good
No,
for them.
I agree.
They're-
I agree.
It's so good. The ending. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
With
Oh,
you know
harrowing. The escape from the hospital, the
escape
wheelchair.
from the hospital. Also the mom character. I love her throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah, I don't know her. She's like a very well-known actor. I'm an idiot, so I don't know her that well. But a lot of people are like
Yeah.
surprised to see her in that role because she is sort of known compared with the other actors
Yeah.
who aren't. So I think some Australians found that like quite jarring just
Yeah.
for the knowledge they had. I thought she was amazing.
Oh, she
Like,
was
and her
fantastic.
tone as a mum, like this like
So-
fed up mum.
She's like, I know you guys are having a party. And they're like, no, we're
Yeah.
not. They're like, no. I love that interaction. Like, no, come on. They
Yeah.
told me. What time is
Yeah.
it? There's
Yeah.
no party. If you fucking drink in my house, I will punch you in the face. Just the direction. Like, okay, you can punch me in the face.
Yeah. She was a great. I love. Yeah, and there were moments in this film that were really funny.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
You know.
I wanted, like, something that I think would have been so
Mm.
funny, especially in the montage, was seeing more from the spirit world of having all the spirits like in a line waiting to talk to the hand. I think that would have been just like a quick shot of that, and then them just like walking forward and then talking. I think that would have been so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like the line outside the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Just waiting to have their moment.
Exactly.
Director's cut.
I think that'd be so funny. It's just simple, effective, elegant.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Mum was great. Mum was funny. And yeah, I think her interactions more exasperated as time went on, were like
Yeah.
very believable as she was like dealing with her son who's in hospital,
Mm-hmm.
her adopted daughter, all that stuff was so intense.
And
Oh,
and her interactions with Mia were like as a mom, and then obviously Riley gets injured because
Complicated.
of her. Yeah,
what would you do? I think I'd be mad at her.
I'd be mad,
you
but
know?
I don't
You
necessarily.
wouldn't cut her off.
Yeah, I don't think I'd cut her off.
Yeah.
I'd be like, look, just give
Turns
us some
out she
space.
probably should have cut her off. Things got out of hand.
Yeah,
you know.
out of hand.
Oh, I clearly did that on purpose.
So
I guess the one thing, it had a happy-ish ending,
Yeah,
sort of, in that Riley was like free and Mia did the
Yeah.
right thing. Part of me wishes that. No, I mean it's perfect.
Yeah.
Part of me, because I always like bleak shit, I wish there was an added level of like bleakness at the
Okay.
end. It had, but I guess maybe we needed that.
How so?
Closure. I don't know. Like I wanted everyone to be died. To be
Yeah.
fucked at the end.
Yeah.
I felt like maybe it's just because I've seen When Evil Lurks, or is it Where Evil Lurks? When Evil Lurks. It's a great new horror out at the
okay.
moment. Fucking love it. It is just so bleak,
Okay.
and it never awards you with any hope.
Okay,
And
good.
whenever I watch those, I just feel like, oh man, that's such a bold thing to do.
Yeah.
And I feel this sort of felt like the kid getting free and being okay. It just felt like, I don't know if I wanted that happiness. I just felt like I wanted
You
like
want
an
him to
added
die.
like
He should
gut
have
punch.
died because we got like all
should've.
that. He should have died.
In hell forever is what I wanted for
mean,
that kid.
Honestly,
He deserved it.
he deserved it. Well,
He deserved it.
His friend deserved it more,
Friend
but
deserved
his
it
friend
more,
was a
actually.
little bitch. The
And I did, it was just well executed,
Yeah.
where like you clock, because it's not like, what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
She's dead, walking through, like, okay, this is how it loops. But
Yeah.
also just seeing it happen and like being drawn towards that flame in the hand, and she's suddenly just like in another country with a group of people.
yeah.
I assume she's in it. Like, it felt like she'd gone international. It was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, this thing is like,
everywhere.
It's everywhere. I love that. Sequel.
I mean,
Talk to me. It will be talk to me, won't it? Like when they do the sequel, talk to. It's got to be.
I hate that, but it's there. It's there. But
how can they not?
But is it gonna be talk 3 me? No.
God, it's gonna be like the Fast franchise.
Bye. No, it's just talk.
Talk to me too.
15.
Oh, it's gonna be horrific.
It's gonna
look,
great.
they can do no wrong. Those brothers, I want them to direct all the sequels, all the things. I'm a fan. They did a thing where they released, I believe they released like as promo, like viral videos. They released some stuff with Riley being like bullied or a series of videos on Twitter.
Okay.
And people complained and reported them because they thought they were real. And so there was a whole viral campaign that got taken down because it was like too gritty and awful. So I'd love to, I didn't see any of them, but I would love to see some of those.
Okay. I have another documentary idea for you.
Mm-hmm. Tickled 2.
Tickled 2, yes. Have you heard about the 2016 clown epidemic
that keeps popping
happened?
up? Pop outside houses.
Do you know how that started?
No idea.
So kind of like Blair Witch, and kind of like Talk to Me with that thing.
Yeah.
I love dropping this. This is also another Wisconsin Film Fest. How I found out.
Yeah.
It's a movie called Gags.
Yeah.
Is it Gags? Yes, it's Gags.
Yeah.
And it's about a clown, and it's just a simple like clown,
scary clown
from the neighborhood. But they were, for promo, they filmed videos and released them on random Twitters, and it blew up and started this clown.
Get out, and other people started doing it.
And it started in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I met the guy, and I shook his hand, and I went, "Fuck you, but thank you,"
The guy that was in the viral campaign.
Yeah, who like the director who
Incredible.
did everything. Yeah.
Oh, right. So the fact that became like a phenomenon was like the viral campaign mixed with people like doing like the
insane.
Same thing.
Yeah, but just being insane. And
I had no idea about this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that story, everyone, like my mum knew about that clown thing. She was like, David, look at this thing. It's crazy.
It's terrifying. I saw
That's
it firsthand.
That's a good viral campaign.
I saw it first. Oh, it's great, but it's also like...
It didn't help the film.
Probably.
It's none of us know about it.
Yeah, it's...
But like amazing campaign. I just wish it would like link back to that more. But look, you know it.
Oh,
now
yeah.
I know it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go and seek out this like dark clown horror.
Yeah,
Is it a good film?
I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm imagining like an indie, quite cheaply made kind of a thing. Yeah.
I believe they're trying to make like a better
a better version. Yeah, right.
And I hope they do, because it was weird, but it was like.
If like I always feel like them generating that phenomenon was like almost like a feat of art in itself.
Yeah.
Like who cares about the original horror? Like what an amazing thing to spread around America.
More clowns. Like we need more.
Yes,
we need more. We need more clowns in the.
They are
world.
Scary.
They're they
friggin' terrifying.
So if you said talk to me, which first of all, would you ever try it?
And again, I love the way they set this up in the film, is that like, why are these kids doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why? Horrible. But like get high, right? It's like a drug. I don't think I would.
Okay.
I think if I was a kid in that room, even maybe it's because I'm not a kid. I'm a 40-year-old man.
Fair enough.
I look at that and I'm like, hell no.
Yeah.
If I was 15 and like people were shoving cameras in my face and that was like the thing to do, maybe you do, because you do like dangerous, stupid shit.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if I'd go back for more. Like I'd do it once, see this hideously scary shit, even if I had like some sort of like cocaine high off it or whatever it feels like.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I wouldn't go back for more. Those kids were going back for like more doses.
Yeah. Which is just wild.
Yeah. So no, in summary, I'm saying no to the possession.
Got it. Okay, cool.
My brain's already like weird enough. Like I'm happy. I don't want anyone else jumping in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any other shit.
I feel like they would want to jump out. Because they'd be like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Get me out of here! Get me out of here!
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Get me out of here!
This is scary. What's in here? Oh my god! I scared. Get me out of here.
I did also see there's a hand poking out down
Oh
there,
yes.
That's not the hand.
It's not the hand. It's
Thank
just
God.
I did try to do the talk.
yeah.
It doesn't really work as well. You can try to like doesn't work as well. I don't know if I would do it. Maybe once, but I'm not good at being peer pressured.
No.
No,
It doesn't
I
work
don't.
with you?
No, I don't.
Great.
I once had an entire summer camp of 400 kids screaming at me to eat an Oreo because I hate Oreos.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want it.
What do you hate about the Oreo? The texture?
It just isn't. I think there's better cookies. There's better cookies. I think it's.
So you hate it, or you'll just get a better cookie?
Yeah, just get a better one. Yeah.
Wow, I like the Oreo. It's like I like the filling. Maybe it's because I'm new here.
Yeah.
The filling, the sort of the biscuit on the outside. I know, I like it. Well, you don't call them biscuits here. You call them what do you call them? Cookies.
Cookie. Yeah.
Yeah, a biscuit is like a scone, isn't it?
Like
In
a
America,
scone.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
So confusing the way Americans talk about these things.
A biscuit would be more like, how would I explain that, John? Like a dinner roll. A dinner roll.
A dinner roll.
Well, but also a dinner roll's a dinner roll.
What would you call the outside of an Oreo? Like the whole thing is a biscuit. No,
It's like
a cookie.
It's like a cookie. Yeah. It's the
wafer.
A
Do you use
wafer. I was like, a wafer?
It's a wafer.
Kinda.
I love
Kinda.
the Oreo.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're not going to be peer pressured into being
pressured into doing
possessed
that.
using a horrific embalmed hand.
But I think, I might be curious, and because also, I mean, now would I try it once? I think so, just once.
Yeah.
But that's all it takes is just the one time, and then you're addicted, and then
I
you're addicted to the hand.
Can go wrong.
But I did want to see Jade, the sister. I wanted to see her do it at least once.
Didn't they?
I know.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that's the sequel. See, you
Sure.
want more? You complain about a sequel, you might get the answer
There you
in
go.
the sequel.
There you go.
It might happen.
Okay, there's one final thing I want to talk about,
Yeah.
and then we're going to talk about Mr. Organ because I want to.
Yeah, the other big horror.
The other
horror hit.
Oh God. The dad getting stabbed, and just that first of all, he's barely in the movie, and I get that, like that was intentional to show that like she's distant from her dad.
There's a lot. But yeah.
I wanted more because I didn't quite understand why they were so.
Oh, why they were so angry and so
At
like
each
sort
other?
of estranged?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. But yeah, we didn't know that.
And then, the only time I cared about them was when he was trying to save her. And then I was like, oh no, she's going for the scissors.
Yeah, this is bad.
Oh no. And then he comes in and just.
You could see that situation was going to end badly.
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of accepted this father-daughter relationship tense. I was just like, okay, this is something going on here.
Yeah.
I was okay with it.
Okay.
But again, maybe, I don't know, maybe they cut it down for running time or something.
True.
I don't know.
True.
But yeah, that was one of those things you saw coming, but when it was unfolding, it was still horrific and awful, and you're just like, no, fucking don't go in there, it's going to go wrong.
No, just,
so wrong.
Just wait. Oh,
yeah,
man.
the scissors.
Terrifying.
Dad,
Like,
yeah.
no one can help her.
No.
So it's.
No, runaway train.
Yeah.
She was
doomed
I'm so
from the
curious
beginning.
like what she does next, because she's like out of nowhere. I haven't seen her in anything. It feels like she's going to be like in every film now. It's
I
like,
hope so.
Feels like a discovery. So many people in that film felt like a discovery.
She was so good. Like just everyone was cast so perfectly, and it was a good group. I wanted more of the two with the hand. Yeah. Like as soon as they're like, okay, we're leaving, I'm like, no, there's still more, and you guys are like, you're the comedic relief. We need you.
We need this. We need some lightness here.
Yeah, and I wanted more of them. So hopefully, if they come back, they come back in the second one, which would be crazy. But out of 10, how do you?
10. It's interesting. I mean, if you had talked to me after I'd seen it at that midnight screening, I get so hyped up. I'd be 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10. And I still, in some ways, feel like, what more could I want from that?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
There's not many horrors I like more. As far as like a modern horror, I thought it was pretty great. I'm giving it a 9.
Yeah.
I love Talk to Me.
That's so.
I shove it on people. I want other people to watch it. A great time. Want more from them.
Yeah.
Solid 9. What about you?
A 9.
You're a 9 too.
I'm a 9 too.
Yeah, okay.
I don't give a lot of things a 9.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really harsh with my rating and stuff, but regardless of what I say with the every movie has problems. Every movie has, even my favorite movies. Like I'm obsessed with Scream. There's problems in Scream. That's okay. But I think that also makes it fun because every time you watch it, you see something new, and that's like with the doorknob. Like I didn't see that till the third time I watched it.
I love that doorknob fact. That's so, and I feel like I should have seen that as well. I feel
now you're
annoyed
gonna
I
watch it
didn't
and you're
clock
gonna
it.
be like, They're just so
What the
much
hell?
higher. I'm like, are they just like what? I'm like, if you're a kid, you really can't. Like, if your parents lock you, like
Yeah.
be like you're going to your room and shut the door. You're like,
Oh.
you can't reach the doorknob.
The
Like, you're fucked.
the other thing that I forgot, just remember, like doors, when they had to lock the dog out.
Yeah.
That scene where he was like making out with the dog, I found
Oh
that
my
was like a
God.
real great shocker.
Yeah.
That was a fun vibe. Yeah.
You're like, I wanted more dog.
Wanted
making
more
out.
dog. Yeah, wanted more like of that shit. No, I mean, fun isn't just horrific.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Horrible. Loved it.
And that's a great transition
Mm.
to horrifically fun.
Yes.
Because again, when I watch your stuff,
Mm.
I'm like, this is fun. I'm like, oh, I loved it. I'm like, I don't know if I can like say that it would say that because it sounds awful. But
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it was fun and it was like hilarious
Yeah,
and
that's
wonderful.
good.
And Mr. Oregon, I was tackling the entire
Yeah, right.
time.
Yeah, okay, good.
You're
That is a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I it's weird because it's real life, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like that's like this weird line, but no, the intent, like it is like there's a lot of humor in there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of fun bits, and I just think that makes some of the darker stuff kind of jump out more. So I'm glad you laughed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mr. Oregon, how I don't like. John was asking me like, "What is Mr. Oregon about?" I'm like, I can't
not
even
sure.
begin to tell you. I'm like, you go down this one rabbit hole of like, oh, this antique shop is has very strict guidelines apparently for their parking spot in the back.
A thrilling premise.
Thrilling
for any
premise,
film.
and they hired this like private you know, company that's gonna like boot the people's car and charge them an arm and a leg, and there's like being threats and there's videos and shit, and then, so you go down that rabbit hole and then it leads to this who is
Who is this man?
who is Mr. Oregon, and then you find Michael Oregon and you just kind of lead down to this insanity. And something I noticed with Tickled and then with this is that, you know, I love that you make yourself, you know, you put yourself into the documentary versus some people are just like, I'll just, you know, do it about the subjects and not put me in it. But same with it in Tickled, there was that moment where, and I thought it was just a one-off thing for Tickled,
Yeah.
where you become part of the story.
Yeah, there's this little pivot moment.
And it happened to Mr. And I was like, God damn it, David. David, no. David. No, David. No.
That's so funny hearing it because it wasn't. It's not a decision.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it happened with Tickled.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, as you say, it happened again with this. This was, you know, I knew what I wanted to investigate. You know, essentially, it's about a con man who has much sort of darker motives, I guess would be like the log line. But I was just planning to make it about him and various victims over the years. But I wasn't expecting for him to turn around and sort of make me a new victim. That was like a new thing. So yeah, it's very similar to Tickled in a lot of ways in that it starts in one place, kind of light and funny and weird,
Yep.
and then it kind of like pivots onto me and then goes even sort of stranger. So it's a journey.
Yeah.
I think the main difference between this and Tickled is, you know, Tickled I had someone I was curious about who desperately didn't want to be in the film. And this was kind of the opposite. I was sort of suddenly shooting with someone that was sort of scary and not particularly likable. But they wanted to be filmed all the time. And that made it take on this really strange shape.
Yeah.
Which resulted in what we have now.
Insane. As soon as it's
Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching it.
Of course. Oh my God.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw there was a Q&A, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta see Dave. I gotta go. Because I gotta, oh man.
I'm glad you like, and it's, you know, I'm not equating with Talk to Me, but like we did make it for the cinema.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a different experience watching this like with a group of people.
Oh yeah.
On a big screen, having that together as opposed to laptop on your bed with like your phone off to the side.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, I want you to be sort of immersed in this man's mindset, and that's sort of the intent behind it.
You did it. It was an absolute mind fuck.
Great. Mindfuck is good.
Yeah. I think it's so important regardless of what, you know, reaction your film has. It's like that it has some type of reaction, because if you're just like, it was fine, like I don't want that, but I want, you know.
Good.
But I left and I was like, I'm confused, I'm angry, I'm upset.
Right.
And this is awesome. And
This is good.
it's good. Oh, it was great. But
Yeah, great.
oh man, dear God. What
yeah,
a fun.
it's. I mean, it is a movie. It is a documentary about an unpleasant man that you're kind of forced to spend time with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's surreal to have it out in the world. I mean, I never. I made Tickled in New Zealand. I never expected that to sort of be playing in America. That felt weird, 6 years ago. So having something out again in the world, and it'll be on streaming eventually. But at the moment, like having it in cinemas, it just. I'm sort of, it's surreal, and I'm from New Zealand, and I sort of didn't expect this to be happening, and to have Americans responding, because it's about a personality type that I think a lot of people will have like brushed up against, and so as weird as it is, I like to think it'll be a bit relatable. Like I'm not sure how relatable Tickled was. I mean, maybe it was for some people, but I feel like this is maybe a bit more relatable in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hilarious because we started talking on Instagram a little bit. I had sent you, and I didn't realize, I totally forgot about this. I sent you like a long time ago an email I got that looked like something from Tickled.
Yeah.
And
is this?
And I was like, is he back? Is she back? Is there another one?
Yeah. The funny thing is, in the world of tickling, there are so many scams of like, want some cash? Come and get tickled. Which, there's elements of that. But yeah, it's funny. I heard from a few people like you afterwards that were like, this is a very similar thing.
This is weird.
Again,
right?
Is David D'Amato, are you sure he's dead?
Are you sure?
Is he? I don't know, because they're very similar.
Seems like he might be alive still. So where can the people find Mr. Organ and you on all the social medias?
Yeah. Whatnot? Social media for me, it's just my name, David Farrier. Pretty simple. And if they want to find out where Mr. Organ is playing, it's just drafthousefilms.com. Amazing. It's like updating the theaters every other day. Yeah. It's like it's going. Different theaters are like, oh, what's this thing, and we'll play it. So we update that site all the time.
That's so
Keep an
good.
eye out there. Or just use Google.
Yeah, Google. Just
Google's
Google.
pretty good.
Google.
Yeah. Whenever I post on Instagram about like where Mr. Organ's playing, inevitably I won't answer a certain question, and people will be like, where's it here? Where's it here? Where's it here? It's all on drafthousefilms.com.
Yep. Or, the internet, period.
Or just Google. Google's good.
Google's
so
Google
good.
is good. Google's so good.
Yeah.
I will say, though, because that movie, I don't know if you were planning on ever moving to these states. I don't know. No, so I will say, but because of Mr. Organ, you are here, and I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I'm I don't want to say I'm thankful that happened to you, but it is truly surreal and an honor to have talked to you today.
No, thanks. This has been fun. I got to talk about one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
And I love talking about movies. I'm a fan of movies.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of horror, so thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here. You're the best. And thank you to Fangoria. You can, if you want to get a copy of Fangoria, Katie Afraidy 25% off. And thank you to our sponsor, Filmcraft LA, Filmcraft Studio Gear. You can find them on filmcraftla.com or on Instagram at filmcraftla. And just some helpful advice I like to give towards the end. If you are at a party and someone's like, hey, you should hold this hand. I mean, you can, but probably don't. I wouldn't, because then you're going to get possessed, and then you're going to try to kill your friend's little brother, and then you might also stab your dad in the neck real quick. And then you might also die. But, I mean, it's a fun ride, and, you might have a cool montage scene. And some new friends in your head, just like Mr. Organ. Hey-o. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Talk to me.